What if the most unforgettable moments in entertainment history are not born from loud announcements or scripted surprises, but from a single second when emotion slips through the cracks of control and reveals something undeniably human? Because on a winter night in late December 2025, a fan meeting meant to celebrate connection quietly transformed into one of the most emotionally charged and endlessly debated moments Chinese entertainment has seen in years. As Songyun stepped onto the stage with grace and calm, unaware that nostalgia itself was about to walk toward her in human form, and as the familiar melody of Summer filled the venue, the same song that once carried the heartbreak, restraint, and unspoken love of Under the Power into millions of living rooms, she sang not as a star performing for applause, but as an artist revisiting a memory she once lived, her voice steady yet soaked in feeling, her eyes closed as if the years had folded inward. And for the audience it felt like time had slowed, because this was not just a song but a shared emotional archive, a key that unlocked a past many fans had never truly left, a sound that immediately summoned images of lantern-lit corridors, silent glances, and love restrained by duty, and in that suspended atmosphere the room itself seemed to hold its breath, until without warning, without a name being announced, without even a pause in the music, Sukai appeared, stepping onto the stage as if summoned by the song itself, and in that instant the atmosphere shattered, screams erupting like thunder, phones rising instinctively, disbelief rippling through the room as reality collided with memory, and when Songyun opened her eyes, the transformation was visible in a way no script could replicate, a fleeting stillness crossing her face, a breath caught between recognition and disbelief, her hand lifting almost unconsciously as if grounding herself in the present while the past stood only steps away, and it was that fraction of a second that ignited the internet, because fans didn't just see two famous actors sharing a stage, they saw unfinished emotions surface, saw characters bleed into real life, saw a question that no one could answer, but everyone wanted to. Was this truly a surprise or the most delicate illusion ever crafted? And as clips spread across Weibo, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at an unstoppable pace, millions replayed the footage frame by frame, analyzing eye movement, body language, timing, breath, the micro-expressions that happen before performance instinct takes over, turning a brief encounter into a digital autopsy driven by longing as much as logic, with some insisting the shock was genuine. Pointing to the brief pause in her singing, the involuntary tightening of her jaw, the way her eyes flickered before she smiled, details that felt too raw to be rehearsed, while others focused on the way Sukai himself seemed cautious, restrained, almost reverent, his steps careful, his posture respectful, as if he too was aware that he was stepping not only onto a stage, but into a memory shared by millions, and yet there were voices arguing that the industry thrives on moments like this, that professionals at this level understand timing, symbolism, and emotional triggers with surgical precision, that fan meetings are rarely left to chance, and yet even those skeptics struggled to explain why this moment felt heavier, quieter, and more intimate than typical viral setups, why it lacked the exaggerated joy or obvious choreography of staged reunions, because Under the Power was never just a drama, it was a phenomenon that bound two characters together through restraint rather than excess, through tension rather than release, through longing rather than declarations, and Summer became its emotional spine, a song that lived on long after the series ended, echoing through fan edits, playlists, and late-night reflections, a song that reminded viewers not of what was gained but of what was sacrificed. So when Sukai appeared during that specific song, at that precise emotional peak, it felt less like a promotional tactic and more like reopening a sealed letter from the past, beautiful yet dangerous, cherished yet painful, and the reaction proved it, because this wasn't just trending excitement, it was collective emotional release, with fans across languages translating context, recounting old interviews, revisiting scenes, and debating ethics alongside emotion, asking whether Songyun had agreed to this spotlight or whether authenticity had been prioritized over comfort, whether a moment that felt so sincere should be engineered at all. A discussion that exposed the evolving tension between virality and personal boundaries in modern fandom culture, where audiences crave honesty yet consume it relentlessly, where vulnerability is praised but also scrutinized, and where artists are often expected to relive their past for public catharsis. And as former industry insiders weighed in anonymously, some confirming that surprises are usually approved while others admitting that pressure to create viral moments can override hesitation, the narrative grew more complex, revealing the invisible machinery behind moments that feel effortless. Yet, despite the controversy, one truth remained undeniable: the power of shared memory, because in those few minutes on stage, reality and fiction blurred so seamlessly that even seasoned viewers questioned where one ended and the other began, whether they were watching two colleagues navigating an unexpected reunion or two symbols of a story that never truly left the collective imagination. And this ambiguity only deepened the fascination, because ambiguity allows projection, and projection allows millions to insert their own emotions into the scene, making the moment feel personal even from afar. And perhaps that is why the moment refuses to fade, because it reminded audiences that beneath branding, schedules, and algorithms, entertainment still lives or dies by emotion, by moments that resist neat explanations, moments that cannot be fully controlled or replicated, moments that slip past strategy and land directly in the heart. And whether orchestrated or spontaneous, the meeting between Songyun and Kai did something rare. It synchronized millions of feelings at once, across generations and borders, turning a fan meeting into a cultural echo that will linger far beyond charts and headlines, influencing how future reunions are perceived and how nostalgia is handled in an industry increasingly driven by metrics. And as discussions continue weeks later, evolving from excitement to reflection, from shipping debates to conversations about artistic autonomy, the moment stands as a mirror reflecting both the beauty and complexity of modern fandom. And now the question belongs to you: did you see genuine surprise or masterful performance? Nostalgia or strategy? Emotion or calculation? And does it even matter if the feeling was real to those who experienced it in that room and to the millions who felt it through a screen? Because perhaps the true power of the moment lies not in its authenticity, but in its impact, in its ability to make people pause, remember, and feel together. Thank you for staying with us through this extended deep dive into emotion, memory, and the fragile line between reality and performance. If this story moved you, intrigued you, or made you rethink how you view moments like these, don't forget to subscribe to 24H News TM for more emotional breakdowns, viral stories, and hidden layers of Asian entertainment. And share your thoughts below, because your interpretation, your memory, and your voice are part of what keeps these stories alive long after the lights fade and the music ends.